When people ask about tahajjud, they often want a quick outline: how many rakats, which dua, what time to wake up. But the real question we should begin with is this: asterisk. What makes tahajjud so beloved that Allah invites us to it when the entire world is silent? In these hours, your heart faces fewer distractions, your intentions become clearer, and your prayers carry a different weight. In this session, I will guide you step by step through the prayer itself, the structure of the rakats, and the supplications that deepen your connection with your Creator. More importantly, we'll explore the spiritual mindset that turns tahajjud from a routine into a source of strength, clarity, and mercy. Let's take this moment to uncover not just the method of tahajjud, but the meaning behind it. In every believer's life, there comes a moment when the heart seeks something deeper than routine worship, something that nourishes the soul in a way the day cannot offer. The night prayer stands as one of those treasures that cannot be measured by outward actions alone. It is a quiet invitation from Allah, extended when distractions fade and sincerity rises to the surface. In this stillness, a person begins to understand that tahajjud is not simply a practice. It is a relationship built in silence, shaped by humility, and strengthened through consistent turning to the one who never sleeps nor forgets. Tahajjud matters because it awakens a part of you that often remains hidden in the rush of daily life. When the world slows down, your thoughts lose their noise and your intentions appear with clarity. In the darkness of the night, you see yourself more honestly, your hopes, your weaknesses, your mistakes, and your longing for guidance. This space allows you to stand before Allah with a presence of heart that is rarely captured during the busyness of the day. It is in these moments that the soul begins to breathe again. There is something unique about the night that softens a believer's heart. The distractions that pull you in different directions during the day no longer compete for your attention. Instead, there is a quiet environment that invites reflection. It becomes easier to recognize your dependence on Allah and the constant need for His mercy. This recognition shifts your focus from outward actions to inward sincerity, and that sincerity becomes the foundation of meaningful worship. One of the reasons tahajjud holds such value is because it is performed when no one else sees you. It is an act purified from the desire for praise or recognition. A person stands in prayer not to be noticed, but to be near their Lord. This invisibility strengthens the intention and purifies the heart. What is offered at night becomes a witness to your true devotion, unfiltered by the expectations or judgments of others. Such acts carry a weight that only Allah measures. The night prayer teaches patience and discipline. Rising from sleep requires effort. Pushing aside comfort in order to seek closeness to Allah demands determination. That struggle becomes part of the worship itself. Each time you wake up intentionally, your soul learns consistency, your heart gains steadiness, and your character becomes more resilient. The discipline built in the night begins to reflect in your interactions. During the day, your words soften, your reactions improve, and your awareness grows. There is a special intimacy that develops between a servant and their Lord when supplications are made in the silence of the night. These are the moments when your du'as come from the deepest parts of your heart, without rehearsed words or formal structure. You speak to Allah knowing He hears every whisper, understands every tear, and knows your situation more fully than you can express. This intimacy creates a kind of spiritual comfort that cannot be duplicated elsewhere. Tahajjud also matters because it transforms the way you view hardships. When you bring your fears, losses, and confusion before Allah in the quiet hours, those burdens begin to feel lighter. You start to see your difficulties not as punishments but as pathways to draw closer to Him. The night becomes a place where pain is processed with dignity and trust. And through that trust, the believer learns that Allah never abandons the heart that turns to Him sincerely. In the night prayer, you begin to understand the true meaning of reliance. You realize that your strength, your plans, and your abilities are limited, but Allah's power has no bounds. This realization shifts your mindset from anxiety to surrender, from fear to assurance. You start to walk through life with a different kind of confidence, the confidence that comes from trusting in the one who controls all outcomes. The quiet of the night encourages self-accountability. When you stand alone in prayer, you naturally reflect on your actions, your words, and the choices you've made. This honest self-assessment helps you recognize where you need to grow and what you need to let go of. It becomes an internal cleansing, a way of resetting your intentions for the coming day. With each night, you refine your character and strengthen your resolve. Tahajjud nurtures gratitude in a profound way. In the peaceful hours of the night, blessings become clearer, and the details of your life that you once took for granted begin to shine. You remember the favors that were given to you quietly, without your noticing. You find yourself thanking Allah not only for major moments, but for the simple daily mercies that sustain you. This gratitude softens the heart and deepens your connection to Him. Another reason Tahajjud holds such significance is its ability to reorient your priorities. The act of waking up specifically to worship shows you what matters most. When you choose Allah over sleep, you set the tone for the rest of your day and often for the direction of your life. This choice becomes a statement of purpose, that your relationship with Allah is central, not secondary. The night prayer is a reminder that guidance comes to those who seek it sincerely. When you stand in Tahajjud, you open yourself to insights, clarity, and calmness that might not reach you in the rush of daylight. Many people find answers to their confusion or direction for their decisions through the tranquility of the night. This is not a coincidence. It is a gift from Allah to the hearts that approach Him with humility. Tahajjud also sharpens spiritual awareness. It helps you recognize the difference between what pulls you closer to Allah and what distances you from Him. The discipline of the night strengthens your ability to resist temptations, manage impulses, and respond to challenges with wisdom. This spiritual clarity becomes an anchor that carries you through daily responsibilities with a sense of balance. The night prayer is a space where repentance becomes more meaningful. In the stillness, you can acknowledge your mistakes with honesty, free from excuses or distractions. Turning to Allah with remorse in the quiet hours allows you to feel the depth of His mercy more fully. You begin to understand that forgiveness is always near for the one who asks for it with sincerity. Tahajjud matters because it is a path to closeness with Allah that is offered to every believer, regardless of status, knowledge, or circumstance. It is a door left open in the night, waiting for those who choose to enter. And those who do often find their hearts transformed in ways they did not anticipate. What begins as a simple act of worship evolves into a source of strength, serenity, and profound spiritual connection. And perhaps the most beautiful aspect of Tahajjud is that its effects extend far beyond the night. The peace you cultivate carries into your morning, the clarity guides your decisions, and the sincerity shapes your character. Through Tahajjud, you discover that the night is not a time of stillness, it is a time of awakening. In that awakening, the believer finds the hidden gift that Allah has placed in the quiet darkness. A place where hearts are strengthened, souls are elevated, and faith is renewed. Before stepping into Tahajjud, the journey begins long before you stand on the prayer mat. It starts within the heart. Many people assume the night prayer relies only on technique, timing, or memorized du'as, but its foundation rests on intention. When the heart is aligned with sincerity, even small efforts carry immense value. This preparation is not rushed, it is a slow awakening of awareness. a turning inward, where you gently remind yourself why you are rising in the night and who you are rising for. The heart cannot flourish under pressure or guilt. It responds to gentleness and purpose. Preparing yourself mentally means recognizing that Tahajjud is an invitation, not a burden. You tell yourself that this night is a chance to meet your Lord in a state of calmness and humility. By shifting your mindset from "I must pray" to "I am honored to be allowed to pray," you create a space in the heart that naturally inclines towards sincerity. This mental shift is essential, for worship fueled by gratitude is more lasting than worship driven by fear alone. Preparation also means clearing your inner space from unnecessary noise. The worries, tasks, and anxieties of the day often linger in the mind and make worship feel heavy. Part of creating the right intention is acknowledging these distractions, placing them gently aside, and trusting that Allah will handle what you cannot. When you create this mental separation between worldly concerns and spiritual focus, the heart becomes more receptive and the mind becomes calmer, ready to engage in meaningful prayer. Another part of preparing the heart is recognizing your dependence on Allah. You remind yourself that you are not waking up on your own strength. You are waking up because Allah allowed it. This recognition cultivates humility and removes the feeling that Tahajjud is a personal achievement. Instead, it becomes a moment of gratitude. You begin the night prayer with the awareness that you are standing only because Allah guided you to do so, and this awareness softens the heart in ways no technique can accomplish. Before praying, spend a moment reflecting on your purpose. Ask yourself what you are seeking from this night: guidance, forgiveness, gratitude, clarity, or peace. Naming your intention makes your worship more meaningful. When the heart knows why it is standing, the mind follows naturally. This reflection does not require eloquent speech, it requires honesty. The more genuine your intention is, the more deeply the prayer will affect your soul. Part of preparing the heart is cleansing it from feelings that dim spiritual focus. Resentment, anger, jealousy, or unresolved conflict can cloud the purity of intention. Though these emotions are part of the human experience, bring them before Allah consciously. Acknowledge them and ask Him to replace them with patience, compassion, and understanding. The night is the best time to seek healing from such inner struggles, and addressing them opens space for sincerity to take root. To prepare the mind, remind yourself that Tahajjud is not measured by how long you pray, but by the presence of your heart during prayer. Many people hesitate, fearing that their worship will not be perfect or that they will fall short. This doubt often hinders intention. Train your mind to understand that your effort, even if small, is beloved to Allah when it comes from sincerity. Let go of the expectation of perfection and focus instead on authenticity. Creating the right intention also involves bringing hope into the heart. You approach the night believing that Allah hears you, sees your effort, and knows your struggles. Hope is a powerful motivator. It turns worship into an act of trust. When hope settles in the heart, the prayer becomes a conversation rather than a ritual. You stand with confidence, knowing that Allah listens with mercy, regardless of how simple your words are. Preparing the heart means acknowledging your weaknesses without being defeated by them. Every believer carries regrets, shortcomings, or spiritual gaps that weigh on the soul. Instead of allowing these to push you away from Tahajjud, use them as reasons to draw nearer. The night prayer becomes a moment where you bring your imperfections before Allah and ask Him to help you grow beyond them. This vulnerability strengthens your intention and deepens your connection. To prepare the mind, gently remind yourself that Tahajjud is not a performance, nor is it a place to impress yourself or others. It is an intimate act of devotion where you come as you are. This mindset releases pressure and allows the heart to focus on worship. When you remove the fear of doing it wrong, your intention becomes lighter, more sincere, and more rooted in seeking closeness to Allah rather than achieving a standard. Another essential part of preparation is being mindful of the time before sleep. Your evening choices shape the quality of your night prayer. A tranquil heart does not emerge from hours of noise, chaos, or emotional strain. Take few minutes before sleeping to recite Quran, make a small dhikr, or reflect on your blessings. These simple steps prepare your mind for a peaceful awakening and anchor your intention for tahajjud. Creating the right intention includes recognizing that Allah values consistency over grand gestures. Even if you wake up for only a few minutes, your sincerity carries immense weight. This understanding prepares your heart to approach the night with balance and gentleness. Instead of overwhelming yourself with unrealistic goals, you give yourself space to grow gradually. This steady approach aligns with the prophetic teaching that the most beloved deeds are those done consistently. Preparing the heart also means entering tahajjud with humility rather than entitlement. You remind yourself that you are the one in need, not Allah. This humility shifts your inner state from seeking reward alone to seeking closeness and transformation. When the heart approaches worship with humility, it naturally becomes softer, more receptive, and more ready to be guided. To prepare the mind, reflect on the privilege of being able to wake up while many others sleep through the opportunity. Not everyone is granted the ability, the energy, or the desire to pray at night. Recognizing this blessing deepens your sense of purpose. It encourages you to treat the night prayer not as an obligation, but as a gift that Allah chose to give you specifically. Creating the right intention means trusting that whatever effort you bring, Allah will multiply it with His mercy. You do not enter the night seeking perfection, you enter seeking acceptance. You remind yourself that tahajjud is an expression of longing, gratitude, and surrender. And with this understanding, the heart becomes prepared, the mind becomes aligned, and the soul becomes ready to stand before the one who knows its deepest needs, before a single word is spoken. Understanding how to perform tahajjud begins with recognizing that this prayer is meant to be approached with calmness, not urgency. The steps are simple, but the mindset behind them adds depth and meaning. Before you even stand for prayer, take a quiet moment to gather your thoughts. Breathe gently and remind yourself that this is a personal meeting between you and your Lord. This short pause helps you transition from the world of sleep into the world of worship with clarity and intention. The timing of tahajjud is one of its most beautiful features. It is prayed after Isha and before Fajr, but its most blessed period falls in the last third of the night. This time varies based on your location and schedule, but the principle remains the same. It is the period when the world is most silent and the heart is most open. Even if you cannot reach the last third, waking up at any moment within this window still carries deep value. The key is consistency, not perfection and timing. When you rise for tahajjud, begin with a moment of stillness. Sit on your bed or at the edge of your prayer mat, letting your mind adjust to wakefulness. This brief transition allows the heart to settle into worship without feeling rushed. Recognize that even this moment, your decision to rise is recorded as an act of devotion. Let that awareness bring you into the prayer with sincerity. Before starting the prayer, make a quiet intention in your heart. There is no specific wording required. It is simply a recognition that you are praying tahajjud for the sake of Allah. This intention anchors your mind and directs your focus. It reminds you that the purpose of this worship is not the number of rakats, but the presence of your heart. A sincere intention transforms the entire experience from a physical act into a deeply spiritual encounter. Tahajjud is prayed in sets of 2 rakats, and you may pray as many as you are able, whether that is 2, 4, 6, 8, or more. There is no fixed limit, and this flexibility is part of its beauty. Each pair of rakats allows you to reset your focus, renew your intention, and continue at your own pace. Even 2 rakats prayed with humility can carry immense reward, so do not underestimate the value of small but sincere worship. When you begin the prayer, recite Surah Al-Fatiha and any portion of the Quran that your heart feels drawn to. There is no specific surah required for tahajjud, though many find comfort in reciting verses they know well or passages that soften their heart. This freedom allows the prayer to feel personal rather than scripted. Recite with attentiveness. Even if your recitation is slow or limited, Allah values the effort more than the fluency. During your bowing and prostration, take your time. Tahajjud is not a rushed prayer. It is a moment where your heart releases its burdens and your soul seeks closeness. Use these positions to express gratitude, ask forgiveness, or make personal du'as. The stillness of the night creates an environment where your whispers are filled with sincerity and your supplications flow naturally, even without structure. Between each pair of rakats, take a short pause, sit quietly, and allow your heart to absorb what you just prayed. You may recite dhikr, contemplate Allah's blessings, or simply breathe in the tranquility of the night. These pauses are not interruptions. They are part of the worship itself. They allow you to reconnect with your purpose before continuing the next pair of rakats. One of the unique aspects of tahajjud is the opportunity to make extended dua after completing your rakats. This is a moment to open your heart fully, to speak to Allah without hesitation. You may follow prophetic du'as or use your own words, both are accepted. What matters is that the dua comes from a sincere place. The night transforms these supplications into intimate conversations where you feel heard even before your words are fully formed. If you plan to end your night prayer with witr, this becomes the final step in the tahajjud routine. Witr can be prayed as 1, 3, 5, or more odd-numbered rakats. Many choose the simple 1 rakat format, while others pray 3. This final prayer seals the worship of the night, wrapping your efforts in a layer of completion and gratitude. Ending with witr adds a sense of closure to your tahajjud. Throughout the process, do not burden yourself with the thought of doing it correctly in a rigid sense. Islam emphasizes ease, especially in voluntary worship. There is room for flexibility, pauses, variations, and adjustments based on your ability. What gives tahajjud its value is the sincerity behind it, not the complexity of its structure. Let the prayer fit your heart, not your anxiety. If you find yourself struggling to stay focused, remind yourself gently that moments of distraction are part of the human experience. When your mind drifts, bring it back without harshness. This act of returning is itself an act of worship. Your effort to refocus strengthens your intentionality and teaches patience. Tahajjud becomes a spiritual exercise in consistency and renewal. Some nights you may feel deeply connected during the prayer, and other nights you may feel distant or tired. Both experiences are part of the spiritual journey. Tahajjud teaches you that worship is not dependent on emotion alone, it is built on commitment, hope, and devotion. Showing up, even with a weary heart, carries immense weight in the sight of Allah. As you complete your tahajjud and prepare to return to sleep or begin your morning, take a moment to reflect on the experience. Notice how the quiet prayer softened your heart, even if only slightly. These small changes accumulate over time. Tahajjud shapes your character gradually, one night at a time, with every sincere effort contributing to spiritual growth. The step-by-step method of tahajjud is simple, but its impact is profound. It is a prayer that elevates you beyond your routine, grounding you in humility and filling your heart with peace. Each rakat, each dua, and each moment of reflection becomes a step closer to Allah. Through consistent practice, you discover that Tahajjud is not only a night prayer, it is a transformative journey that shapes the believer from within. The beauty of Tahajjud is not only in the quiet worship itself, but in the intimate space it creates for heartfelt supplication. During the night, your dua carries a different weight because the distractions of the world are silent and your emotions rise closer to the surface. In this stillness, you can speak to Allah with a clarity that daytime rarely allows. These moments are not meant to be rushed. They are invitations to open your heart fully and honestly, knowing that Allah is near, listening with mercy and compassion. One of the most transformative aspects of night supplication is the sincerity that emerges naturally. When you stand before your Lord while others sleep, your words become more genuine, stripped of fear, pride, or performance. Even the simplest phrases carry depth when spoken from a tired heart seeking comfort. Your dua does not need poetic structure or perfect Arabic. Allah listens to the intentions behind your words. This sincerity elevates even the shortest supplication into something far more significant. Duas made in the night often reveal truths about yourself that you overlook during the rush of the day. In these quiet moments, you recognize what concerns you the most, what burdens you carry, and what you deeply hope for. These realizations become the foundation of meaningful supplication. When you bring your vulnerabilities before Allah, you are acknowledging His power and your dependence. This acknowledgement is itself a form of worship that softens the heart and strengthens faith. During Tahajjud, your supplications gain depth when they begin with praise of Allah. Before asking for anything, take a moment to reflect on His greatness, His mercy, and His generosity. This praise is not only an act of worship, it expands your heart, reminding you that you are speaking to the one who can change every condition with ease. Beginning your dua with praise helps you approach your request with hope, trust, and humility. Another way to elevate your supplications is by seeking forgiveness with sincerity. The night prayer is a powerful time to reflect on your shortcomings without self-blame or despair. When you acknowledge your mistakes before Allah, you are not weakening yourself. You are freeing your heart from the weight of guilt. Asking for forgiveness becomes a healing process, a way of starting fresh with a heart ready to receive guidance and mercy. Your dua becomes even more meaningful when you include gratitude. In the quiet of the night, it becomes easier to recognize the blessings that often go unnoticed. The safety of your home, the health of your body, the people you love, and the opportunities you've been given. Expressing gratitude shifts your heart from worry to appreciation, from fear to calmness. This mindset opens the door to deeper and more impactful supplications. Part of transforming your night supplications is being honest about your needs. Too often, people hesitate to ask for personal matters, fearing they are unworthy or insignificant. But in Tahajjud, nothing is too small or too personal for Allah. Whether you seek guidance, emotional peace, clarity in decisions, or relief from burdens, bring them forward. These personal du'as are often the most powerful because they come from a place of true dependence and trust. The night is also a time to make du'a for others, not just for yourself. When you pray for someone in their absence, Allah assigns angels to pray for you in return. This act of compassion elevates your supplication and purifies your heart from selfishness. Praying for family members, friends, the struggling, the ill, and the forgotten widens your perspective and nurtures empathy. These prayers carry tremendous reward and deepen your connection to the community. There is unique strength in dua made during prostration. In sujood, your heart finds its most humble state, and your words rise with sincerity that cannot be faked. Speak to Allah from this position with whatever troubles you, whatever you long for, whatever you fear losing. Sujood allows you to express emotions you may not be able to articulate out loud. This moment of closeness is one of the greatest opportunities of tahajjud. Extended supplication after prayer is another way to elevate your nights. Once you complete your rakats, sit quietly and let your heart settle. This is often when du'as flow most naturally, when you feel the peace of worship and the weight of the world lifts slightly from your shoulders. Use this time to speak to Allah without structure or restraint. Let your heart guide your words. These spontaneous supplications often hold the most sincerity. To transform your dua, focus on consistency rather than intensity. A few heartfelt minutes every night may shape your heart more than a long supplication once in a while. Consistency teaches discipline, deepens sincerity, and aligns your heart with your purpose. Over time, this regularity creates a spiritual familiarity. Your heart begins to crave the quiet conversations with Allah that only the night brings. Your supplications also gain depth by asking Allah not just for outcomes, but for the qualities that lead to those outcomes. Instead of only asking for success, ask for wisdom, perseverance, and sincerity. Instead of only asking for relief from difficulties, ask for patience, clarity, and strength. These qualities shape your character and prepare you to receive Allah's blessings in the best possible way. Such dua transforms your inner world, not only your circumstances. A powerful element of night supplication is remembering the hereafter. When you ask Allah for protection, guidance, or mercy regarding the next life, your priorities shift. You begin to see your struggles differently, and your faith deepens. The night is a time when the heart is most aware of its final destination and most willing to seek what truly matters. This awareness elevates your supplications and gives them lasting meaning. As you conclude your supplications, fill your final moments with trust. Trust that Allah heard you, trust that He understands your heart, and trust that His response will come in the best possible form. Leaving your dua with trust rather than worry is an act of faith. It brings peace that lingers even after the prayer ends, shaping your outlook on the day ahead. What transforms your night supplications most is your presence of heart. The words you say, whether many or few, become powerful when spoken with awareness, humility, and yearning. Tahajjud gives you a private space where your soul can speak freely, your worries can be released, and your hopes can be raised. Through sincere dua in the quiet of the night, you discover a form of closeness to Allah that brings strength, healing, and profound transformation into every corner of your life. As you walk away from this lesson, remember that tahajjud is not measured by long hours or perfect recitation. It is measured by the sincerity that you bring to those quiet moments with your Lord. Even a few rakats prayed with a present heart can reshape your outlook, soften your character, and anchor your faith. Begin gently, remain consistent, and allow the night to become a place where your soul finds clarity and comfort. May Allah make your tahajjud a source of strength, guidance, and closeness to Him.